Welcome back to Beemer Fam. You guys join us here with the brand new M3 Competition. This is the G8X G80. As you can see, we're just doing a quick test drive on the car. I think the headlights look amazing. These are the BMW laser lights, which are illegal in some countries because of how bright and how electronically advanced they are. Front kidney grills are functional, but they are massive. Definitely a controversial design. And then we have the side badges, which actually aren't functional. This is one of my biggest problems with this car. Seems to me to be a little gimmicky. Obviously, it does look nice, but in the F8X generation, these side badges were functional. They allowed more airflow to slip through the side of the car, which they got rid of for some reason. Set of Michelins, these cars do come standard with Pirelli tires. These are 20-inch wheels. And if we come around back, we have these beautiful taillights, which I absolutely love. Obviously, all the parts you see in black, including the mirrors, front lip, you can get in carbon fiber from BMW M Performance's factory. You can see the exhaust tips are absolutely massive. The diffuser is huge. I would like to see this in like a carbon fiber look. Since the competition, you get the black exhaust tips. I mean, the whole rear end of the car is probably my favorite part about this thing. You see, we got M3 Competition. Those tail lights wrap around the back. Let's hop inside the car and take it for a drive. Car comes equipped with just north of 450 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in about 3.7 seconds. All-wheel drive models tend to do that a lot quicker, maybe around 3.2. This car does not have the manual transmission, since competitions only come with the 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission. The design language on the interior, I'm absolutely in love with this car. So we've got carbon fiber everywhere, huge carbon fiber stack right in the middle by the shift knob. Even the cup holder has a big carbon fiber cover, which I really like. Ambient lighting is pretty intensive in this generation as well. Not only that, you can change the color of the ambient lighting in this car as well. We're just taking the car on a quick test drive, feeling it out, see maybe if this is something I'm interested in buying in the future, replacing the F82 with, or if it's just not even worth looking at all. We just put the car in full Sport Plus mode right now. It's time to hear what this thing sounds like. Okay, so this thing has a lot of torque. You can hear those turbos. You can hear those turbos a lot more than the previous generation. Listen to that. That sounds pretty good if you ask me for a stock car. Downshifts are not nearly as sharp, since this is not the dual clutch transmission like the F80 generation was. The actual motor itself, I think, sounds better than the S55. Now we're just going to cruise up the rev range so we can hear the motor. Wow, competition. So we might be closer to 500 horsepower in this car. We have slight burbles from the exhaust, very subtle. Like one of the biggest issues with this car is the front end. The front end looks very controversial. The grills are massive compared to any generation BMW. It's really the first generation of the M3 M4 to have such an awkward looking front end. The rear end I absolutely love on this car. So that's something new with this generation, is you get like a heads-up display that flashes, has like shift lights that flash at you really bright, kind of like a Formula 1 car. You hear the downshift, not nearly as sharp as that dual clutch. That's probably the biggest thing I'm not liking about this car right now is the transmission. It's actually the same transmission that's in my girlfriend's 328i, so you can get an idea of how good this thing is around town. You save a lot of gas, good fuel economy. When you look at a sports car and what a sports car should be, you kind of want that sharp gearbox. It's $90,000, so you look at its competitors, the Mercedes, the AMGs, the Porsches and stuff like that. Those cars have anywhere from a 6-speed manual to a 7-speed dual clutch. None of them have any kind of torque converter transmission, and that's something that really turns me off with this generation. But interior I absolutely love. Steering wheel has carbon on it from factory, which is awesome. The paddle shifters themselves have carbon fiber, and they even have these like little red grips on the back, which is a nice touch as well. It's really just a step up in every single way as far as the interior goes. This is probably the best part about the car. They really knocked it out the park, and I'm very impressed with what they've done with this car. So if you guys aren't familiar with the M3 and the M4, you can adjust your suspension, your throttle response, your steering, and with this generation, you are now able to adjust your brake settings. So you can go comfort, sport, and sport plus for each of those individual settings, and you can store those settings in your M1 and M2 buttons. Okay, the thing is fast. It shakes and bakes just like how an M3 and M4 should. It does get the heart going. I will say the Competition is a much more exciting car to drive than just the base M3 or M4. This thing really just wants to put down the grip, but it struggles. Even with the tires warmed up just a little bit, it really is an animal. I drove the manual M3 just the other day, and I'll put a few clips on the screen. It was definitely fun. The gearbox is very familiar, but it doesn't get up to speed quite as fast as this one does. Mirror right here is an edgeless mirror, which I really like. Everything about this interior is just enhanced. These things can hold really up to 800 horsepower, and that's why they actually switched to these transmissions in the first place, because they know a lot of people are going to be modifying and tuning these cars and adding power, and this transmission will be able to withstand that as opposed to the dual clutch. You guys are going to have to let me know what you guys think about this generation of M3 and M4. Is it even worth entertaining? So you guys join me back in my F82 M4. You can hear that transmission is just much more sharp. Part of me is like, okay, if I were to ever see myself in that car, I might have to opt for that 6-speed manual, just because it's much more violent and it's less smooth. In an M3, M4, I feel like it's a more sporty, track-oriented car that can be daily driven on the street, and I feel like that 8-speed automatic is too daily drivable. It doesn't really feel like you're in an absolute sports car. The motor makes you feel like that, but that transmission really softens things down, really waters it down. The best way I can describe it is a 7-speed dual clutch makes you feel like you're drinking soda, any kind of Sprite, Pepsi, straight off the tap. A transmission in that G80 makes you feel like you've been drinking 3 or 4 days after it's been in the refrigerator. So you just hear how this thing shifts. Makes you feel like you're more in something exotic. Like wow. Granted, this one's got the tune, the exhaust, exterior mods, but if I'm just being honest here, I think this generation of M3, M4, they really did it better. So if you guys agree or disagree, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check us out on Instagram, and get ready for more content coming up in the future.